Most people believe that the more self-aware you become, the better your life gets. It sounds almost impossible to argue with. After all, understanding yourself should help you make wiser decisions, build healthier relationships, and avoid repeating the same mistakes. But what if there's a point where self-awareness quietly turns against you? What if the very ability that helps you grow can also trap you in a cycle of constant self-monitoring, endless analysis, and emotional exhaustion? The strange part is that many people experiencing this don't even realize it's happening. They think they're gaining clarity when, in reality, they're slowly losing peace. Understanding where that line exists might completely change the way you see your own mind. Imagine walking into a room full of people. Before anyone says a word, your brain is already busy. You wonder if you're standing naturally, whether your smile looks forced, if your voice sounds confident enough, or if that joke you made 5 minutes ago landed awkwardly. While everyone else is simply participating in the conversation, you're also observing yourself from the outside, almost as if you're watching your own life instead of living it. This isn't ordinary self-reflection. It's a form of hyper-self-awareness, where attention becomes so focused inward that it starts interfering with the present moment. Psychologists often distinguish between healthy self-awareness and excessive self-focus. Healthy self-awareness allows you to recognize your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors without becoming consumed by them. It helps you notice when you're angry before saying something you'll regret, or recognize patterns that keep holding you back. Excessive self-awareness, however, is different. Instead of simply observing your thoughts, you begin analyzing every thought you have. Rather than understanding your emotions, you start questioning whether you're feeling the right emotions. Reflection slowly transforms into rumination, and growth quietly turns into paralysis. One reason this happens is that the human brain wasn't designed to endlessly inspect itself. Cognitive psychology has long shown that attention is a limited resource. The more mental energy you spend monitoring yourself, the less you have available for engaging with the world around you. Athletes sometimes call this choking under pressure. A skilled basketball player who normally shoots effortlessly may suddenly overthink every movement during a crucial free throw. By consciously analyzing actions that usually happen automatically, performance actually gets worse. The same principle applies far beyond sports. Think about a conversation with someone you genuinely like. If you're relaxed, words tend to come naturally. But if you suddenly become intensely aware of every sentence, every facial expression, and every pause, the conversation often becomes awkward. You hesitate before speaking. You replay your previous sentence while the other person is already talking. Ironically, your effort to appear confident makes you seem less natural. This is because genuine connection depends on attention flowing outward toward the other person, not constantly looping back toward yourself. Social psychologists have studied something closely related called the spotlight effect. Most people dramatically overestimate how much others notice their mistakes or awkward moments. You might spend an entire day worrying that everyone saw you stumble over a word during a presentation, while most people forgot about it within minutes, or never noticed at all. Our minds naturally place ourselves at the center of our own experience, making it easy to assume we're also the center of everyone else's attention. We rarely are. Technology has quietly amplified this tendency. Every photo can be examined dozens of times before posting. Every message can be rewritten repeatedly. Every interaction leaves behind digital evidence that invites endless review. Instead of experiencing moments, we often evaluate how those moments appear. We become both the actor and the audience of our own lives. While these habits may seem harmless, they train the brain to remain in a constant state of self-observation, making it increasingly difficult to simply exist without judging ourselves. There's another hidden danger that many people mistake for intelligence. Some individuals believe that if they analyze themselves enough, they'll eventually eliminate uncertainty. They search for the perfect explanation behind every feeling, every decision, and every personality trait. But psychology suggests that human behavior isn't always that predictable. Our thoughts are influenced by memory, emotion, biology, environment, and countless unconscious processes. Sometimes there isn't a single satisfying answer. The need to completely understand yourself can become an impossible project that never truly ends. This endless search often creates what psychologists describe as analysis paralysis. The more options you examine, the harder it becomes to choose one. Imagine deciding whether to change careers. Healthy reflection asks practical questions about your goals, strengths, and values. Excessive self-awareness keeps adding new questions. What if you're choosing for the wrong reasons? What if this reveals something negative about your personality? What if your motivation isn't authentic enough? Eventually, thinking replaces action. You become trapped, not because you lack insight, but because you have too much of it. Ironically, some of the happiest moments in life happen when self-awareness temporarily disappears. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi described this state as flow, a condition where you're completely absorbed in what you're doing. Time seems to disappear. Your attention isn't fixed on yourself, but on the activity itself. Whether it's painting, playing music, writing, cooking, or having a meaningful conversation, these moments often feel deeply satisfying precisely because the inner narrator becomes quieter. You're no longer watching yourself live, you're simply living. This doesn't mean self-awareness is the enemy. In fact, it's one of the most valuable psychological skills we possess. The problem isn't awareness itself, but the relationship we develop with it. Imagine holding a flashlight in a dark room. It's useful when pointed towards something you want to understand, but if you constantly shine it directly into your own eyes, the light that was supposed to help you see actually blinds you. Self-awareness works much the same way. Its purpose is to illuminate your experience, not dominate it. Another surprising consequence of excessive self-awareness is that it can make people less emotionally resilient. Every uncomfortable emotion becomes something to investigate instead of simply experience. Feeling anxious before an important meeting becomes, why am I anxious? What does this say about me? Why can't I handle this better? Instead of allowing emotions to naturally rise and fall, we accidentally prolong them through constant mental commentary. Research on rumination consistently suggests that repeatedly dwelling on negative thoughts is associated with greater emotional distress, even though it often feels like productive problem-solving. Relationships can also suffer in subtle ways. Imagine someone giving you a genuine compliment. Instead of simply accepting it, you immediately begin questioning it. Were they just being polite? Did they really mean it? Am I responding correctly? Your attention shifts away from the person offering kindness and toward your internal analysis. Over time, this habit can create emotional distance, not because others don't care, but because you're too busy evaluating every interaction to fully experience it. Perhaps the greatest irony of excessive self-awareness is that it often begins with a positive intention. People want to improve themselves. They want to avoid hurting others. They want to make better decisions and become more authentic. These are admirable goals, but somewhere along the way, self-improvement quietly transforms into self-surveillance. Every flaw becomes evidence that more work is needed. Every success is quickly dismissed because attention immediately shifts to the next imperfection. Growth stops feeling inspiring and starts feeling like an obligation with no finish line. Real psychological growth usually looks much quieter than people expect. It isn't obsessively questioning every decision or constantly dissecting every emotion. It's developing enough self-awareness to recognize patterns while also having the wisdom to let some thoughts pass without investigation. It's understanding that not every feeling requires an explanation, not every mistake defines your identity, and not every uncomfortable moment needs to be fixed immediately. Sometimes maturity isn't thinking more about yourself, it's finally thinking less. So if you recognize yourself in these patterns, the solution isn't to become less thoughtful or less reflective. It's to remember that self-awareness is a tool, not a place to live. Use it to learn, to adjust, and to grow. But don't let it become the lens through which every second of your life is filtered. Some of life's richest experiences happen when your attention leaves the endless conversation inside your head and reconnects with the world unfolding right in front of you. The next time you catch yourself analyzing every word you said, questioning every emotion you felt, or trying to solve every mystery about who you are, pause for a moment and ask yourself a different question. Am I learning something genuinely useful, or am I simply watching myself too closely? That single question may be the difference between understanding yourself and becoming trapped inside yourself. And if you enjoy exploring the hidden psychology behind why people think, feel, and behave the way they do, consider subscribing to PsycheLens. Because sometimes the most powerful way to understand the human mind is not by looking harder, but by learning where and when to look.